this is the auditorium once served as a lecture theatre in the day, but due to COVID, everything has been now converted to virtual lecture.
Here on level 5, right by the SCSE building, are where the tutorial rooms are located. The tutorial rooms are a collaborative learning space where students actively engage in open discussion along with their professors and fellow students and discuss any doubts that they might have with respect to their weekly content.
That's right.
Tutorial rooms also provide a collaborative space where students can interact with one another, study and discuss projects.
Speaking of collaborative spaces, we have our own SCSE student lounge, located at level 1 of the SCSE building.
The lounge is a vibrant recreational learning space where you can make friends, have engaging discussion, study, host events, and even play games.
So right outside the SCSE student lounge, we have a teaching lab, where students can take part in their lab sessions as part of their undergraduate study. SCSE encompasses a broad-based learning approach. Not only do we have lectures and tutorials, but we also have the more hands-on lab sessions.
That's right.
For undergraduate study at SCSE, the school helped us hone both our hardware and software skills. This is by giving us both labs as well as lecture.
It's time to catch the campus bus. Let's go!
So, NTU actually has 3 campus bus routes. The red and blue circle the campus, while the green, it benches off campus to the Pioneer Station and back.
You can go ahead and download a navigation app like U-Wave, which gives you all the information about the different campus buses and the public buses available for you to traverse around NTU.
Hey look, the bus is here.
See you guys in North End!
Residential colleges are distinctive to NTU and they're the first of its kind. Residential colleges offer NTU students a new kind of residential experience where they can organize and participate in the full spectrum of hall and activities and events. This study room behind me is a common study area for NTU hall residents and is open until 2 AM. It provides a conducive studying environment for students right before your examinations, before the last push. After a long hard day of studying, students can come down to the North Hill Gym, which is the largest on campus. It hosts a wide variety of weights and cardio machines, as well as Phoenix, a state-of-the-art functional training system.
We're sure you've had a great experience at SCSE today and we look forward to you joining our vibrant community. See you soon!
In recent years, we have heard a lot about Smart Nation. With the rapid growth of technology, there's actually many opportunities for us to improve our lives through tech-enabled solutions. This is not just happening in Singapore, but globally as well.
But achieving Smart Nation is not an easy task. We need to be able to collect and analyze a large amount of data while keeping our hardware and software protected through robust cybersecurity efforts.
As one of the top universities in the world, the School of Computer Science and Engineering has produced many students with the skills and expertise to contribute to Smart Nation and beyond. We get to utilize the best facilities and learn from the best professors, who are not only outstanding researchers but also caring educators. At the same time, we have numerous opportunities for residential and student life activities, which grows our networks and broadens our horizons.
When we come into SCSE, we are exposed to both computer science and computer engineering by taking common courses in topics such as data analytics, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and digital media.
We try to bring out the best quality of our students through the effort and strategies. We train our students to embrace and persist through challenges which lead them to a path of mastery. Students will have opportunity not just within NTU, but abroad and beyond classroom.
A large part of our curriculum actually focus on hands-on and projects. And it's also through all these sessions and projects that students get exposed to industry-relevant platforms and processes.
This gives us the broad knowledge of tackling multidisciplinary challenges of building a smart nation.
In their course of studies, students are able to hone their skill in technical areas on using equipment such as digital oscilloscope, arbitrary function generator, multimeters, and manifold of equipment that is available in the laboratory. In the software, the students are taught to do high-level programming, low-level exposure programming, and even artificial intelligence. All our labs are maintained and updated to ensure the students have a seamless experience.
It's my privilege actually to take groups of students overseas every year and to compete with other students from top universities overseas. It's also an opportunity for the students to network with other people. Thus, I see the Students Cluster Competition as an amazing platform for students to learn and compete in a friendly manner, technically and innovatively.
This undergraduate program gives you the opportunity to get into data science and AI before everyone does. You don't have to do a computer science or engineering major and then specialize in this. You get into the specialization right away.
I did my internship with CSIT during my summer holidays working on a cybersecurity project and analytics project. This project has allowed me to leverage on my skill set gained from my business and computer science curriculum.
I'm currently an intern at DSO working on a deep learning research project. During my time at NTU, I had the chance to take up the Eureka program, which allowed me to further my passion for artificial intelligence.
As a UI UX intern at GovTech, I am given the opportunity to work on citizen-centric projects.
I'll be going for my professional internship at China, Beijing for about 6 months. I'm very excited to be able to see how things work in an overseas environment, and I'm looking forward to all the different IT projects that I'll be taking part in.
The school equips me with the skills and knowledge to share in the exciting vision of building a smart nation. From empowering the elderly to building vehicles for the future, there are so many opportunities out there.
Today, our seniors can be found in almost any industry, anywhere in the world. Many have even become technopreneurs.
The past years in NTU SCSE have been some of the best years in my life, and I'm glad I chose this school. But at the same time, I look forward to graduating and beginning my career in the industry.
A degree from the School of Computer Science and Engineering is not just my passport to the world, but my passport to the future. And I'm really excited to see what's in store for me.
This undergraduate program gives you the opportunity to get into data science and AI before everyone does. You don't have to do a computer science or engineering major and then specialize in this. You get into the specialization right away. In this program, we are trying to give you a three-point view of the whole topic. One, the computing aspect of things. Second, the mathematical aspects, which are the base. And third, the practical point of view from our industry partners. This makes you a well-rounded data scientist and AI engineer. So that's the beauty to be in a specialized undergraduate program, right? You see the subjects, but you always tie it back to the discipline. You go to internships and exchanges, you tie back everything to the industry partners and you see the practice. And then you talk to industry partners in Singapore. But still, you're always getting back to what you're learning in school, connecting it to the real life. That's the beauty of any specialized undergraduate program. That's what DSAI is, right?
So one of the reasons why I decided to join DSAI is because I had an internship opportunity at the Data Science and AI Research Center at NTU. And through this internship experience, I actually learned a bit more about what DSAI is about. And I actually see that actually DSAI is about making sense of all the numbers around us and see how we can gain any insight from all this data and maybe let this data tell a story about. We're living in a world where we're surrounded by data, and so in DSAI, really we're trying to make sense of all this data and try to gain insights from it. So recently we did a project on video games where we had a data set on how people purchase video games, and we tried to understand why people purchase certain video games in certain regions. And it's quite interesting because using factors like people's comments and experts' opinion, we can predict actually whether a video game will have good sales or not. And so we made predictions about the sales of a video game using all these factors. And when we create a new game, we can actually predict whether it will be a popular game or not. And so that's quite interesting on how we can apply data science and AI in real life.
I think the math that we learn in DSAI is not really the conventional math that we maybe learn in previous educational institutions, because it's a really kind of complex math that relates directly to computing. So you have things like linear algebra that we can see the applications right away in what we do in the lab. So I think the foundation of data science is really built on this kind of math that we learn from this course quite from day one, I would say. For instance, we actually saw the linear algebra that we learned in the math courses, and we applied it directly to one of the projects that we did that was related to video games. It was a study on the efficient matchmaking and how do we make the game experience better for everyone playing the game. So I think the clustering methods that we used really saw a direct link to linear algebra, and it was quite interesting to see how the math related directly to the computing. Not just abroad, I think in Singapore there are plenty of opportunities in this program as well, because we have local industry partners that we met with them, and it was a really good session where we learned what are the practical uses of data science in AI and how it's actually being used in the field right now, and I think that's very good.
I went for an exchange at University of Science and Technology in China for a week. So having looked at all the different industry and what they are doing with AI, it has me thinking that there is no limit on what AI can do, and it excites me to work in this field.
Hi, so welcome to Hardware Lab 2 or HW Lab 2. This is the biggest hardware lab in SCSE. It's important to note that a lot of computer science and computer engineering courses take place here. So some of the computer science courses are digital logic, computer architecture, and even algorithms. Some of the computer engineering courses that happen here are microprocessors. So there are 4 huge rooms, and this is one of them, this is one of them, and 2 more rooms are located on that side of the lab.
Welcome to Software Lab 2. Most of the tests are taken here. Okay, one of the reasons why is because of the cameras. It's to monitor us when we're taking a test. It's a link to the blackboard. We also take data structures, which is the year 1 modules, databases, net-centric computing, computer network.
Closing. Third story. Door opening.
Hi Bob, what's up? You look great today. Any big news? Oh, really? That's great. Congratulations. Hi Bob, Michael, how are you? It's been a while since we last met. Yeah, miss you a lot. We are fine. And actually, both Bob and I are going to graduate this year. Wow, fantastic! Time flies. I only start my internship this semester. Indeed, I finished my intern last year at this point of time. It was a nice experience. What are you working as? A data engineer. Sorry guys, I have a meeting. I got to go now. See you again. See you. Bye.
Hello, my name is Gerald, and I am proud to be the recipient of the Lee Kuan Yew Gold Medal for Computer Science and the IMDA Gold Medal. I would like to give a big thanks to my family and friends for their profound support during my 4 years here in NTU, as well as to the instructors whom I have had the privilege to learn from. Without all of them, I would not have gotten to where I am today. To my juniors and the incoming freshmen, I hope all of you have a fruitful learning journey here in SCSE, and I wish you all the best in your future careers.
Hi, I'm Yuan Ming from Computer Engineering. It is my honor to receive the Lee Kuan Yew Gold Medal 2021. I would like to express my great thanks to my friends, all staff from the School of Computer Science and Engineering, and my family members. With you all, I have experienced unforgettable 4 years during my university journey. To my juniors and incoming freshmen, keep trying new things and stay prepared for challenges and uncertainties. To the class of 2021, congratulations on your graduation and welcome to the new stage of the life. I wish you all the best in your future.
Hi, I'm Kenneth. I'm honored to win the Tata Consultancy Service Gold Medal, and I am forever grateful to my professors and friends for their support and help in my journey in NTU. I'd like to thank my mentor, Professor Yo Chai Kiat, for her countless advice and guidance throughout my undergraduate days. To all my SCSE juniors, I hope you enjoy the remaining of the SCSE program and appreciate the friendships that you will forge in SCSE. Do work hard and make NTU proud of what you are going to achieve in the near future.
Hello everyone, I'm Han Simeng. I would like to thank all my friends for helping me out in not only academic projects, but also all the other aspects of my life. I would like to say to all the freshmen and juniors, although life has so many paths and it is almost impossible for us to try out all of them, although it is almost impossible for us to find the global optimum of our life, we can always strive to find the local optimum step by step. And at the end, we will realize that the local optimum is not that much different from the global optimum. Congratulations to the class of 2021. We did it!
I gratefully acknowledge the help and company of all my friends in NTU. I also hope that we can fight alongside in the following journey in university. The message given to my junior, to be confident, study well, and enjoy the campus life in NTU. Thank you.
Welcome to NTU School of Computer Science and Engineering. We are live from the Innovation Lab at SCSE NTU. My name is Ananya and I am a Year 2 Business and Computing student. Today, we have here with us a very diverse panel filled with SCSE students aiming to give you an insight into the SCSE life. So let's have a round of introductions. So as I mentioned, I'm a business and computing student. I was previously from Raffles Institution, and currently I'm a choreographer at NTU Indian Dance. I'm part of the MC Club, and I'm part of the Innovation Lab Exco. Sean?
Hi, I'm Sean. I'm a Year 3 Computer Engineering student with an elective focus in cybersecurity. So currently, I'm the Chief Technology for NTU Arts Festival, and my previous school was NYP Cybersecurity and Forensics.
Hello, I'm Jing Ting. I'm a Year 4 Computer Science student. I was from Game Development and Technology from Nanyang Polytechnic. And I've joined like several faculty events over the years in NTU. And I'm also currently in NTU Arts Festival with Sean. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Johnson. I'm a Year 4 student studying DSAI and AI, and I'm an international student here.
Hi, my name is Kin. I'm a Year 4 Computer Engineering student. I was previously from SPEEE, and I also stay in hall, so if you have any residential life questions, you can direct it to me.
Hi everyone, I'm Xiao Hang. I'm currently a Year 3 Computer Science student, and I'm specializing in data science and network. So you can feel free to reach out to me if you have any queries about these specializations.
Hello, I'm Jun Hong. I'm currently a Year 3 Business and Computing student. I'm actually doing a part-time intern now. So if you have any questions regarding double degree or internships, you can direct them at me.
Okay, great. So now that we have the introductions out of the way, we want you to be part of the conversation. So we will be taking your questions through Slido. To participate, log on to Slido and use the code #AskSCSE. So that's ASKSCSE. Of course, we'll be answering questions that we think you want us to answer, but we would love to hear these questions directly from you. Great, let's move on into the panel. So first and foremost, I'm sure a lot of students want to find out how their university is going to be, and of course, how seniors from similar backgrounds made the leap into NTU. So let's take a look at how some of us made that same leap. Let's start with Sean. Many people don't really know what to do in their future, but yours is a story, I think, where you had a plan from the get-go, as early on as secondary 1. So do share with us your process and how you made that leap from NYP to NTU.
So in secondary 1, the year was 2011, so a lot of my friends and I were talking about what we wanted to do for our careers or what we want to do when we grow up. So me being somebody who likes computers at a very young age, so that's got me started to think and like, oh, what should I do in the future? So I came across this YouTube video, which is called Brain Searching for the First PC Virus in Pakistan. It depicts a antivirus company lead who he went to Pakistan and brought the original floppy disk back to the original virus writers. So that really got me intrigued into cybersecurity. So then at that point of time, I looked and say, oh, I look for degrees, then I work backwards and see, oh, if I go to JC, if I go to Poly, what's the cutoff point, what's the IGP. Then back to all the way to secondary school, and I know that, oh, okay, I need to stream into a science stream to be able to go to where I want. So for NYP, after that I went to NYP Cybersecurity and Forensics. So coming here, a lot of the things are actually very relevant. So I brought a lot of my, what I had in terms of knowledge here. But one of the things I actually struggled with was with math, because the math rigor in uni is definitely more in university. So, but one of the good things is that in the holidays, when I finished my national service, 3 months before uni started, there's actually this math and physics preparatory program where you can attend and basically make sure that you are on a specific rigor before you start uni, and that will basically, you won't be so scared when you start uni. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that we have the math and physics preparatory courses that help to bridge the gap between your previous education and coming into NTU. Okay, thank you for the poly perspective. So let's move on to Xiaohang. And how was the leap from JC to NTU?
Personally, I felt that the leap from JC into uni was quite a smooth one with the help of my peers as well as my tutors. They were all very supportive, and I had seniors who helped to guide me along the way as to what are some of the preparations I must make prior coming to university. And aside from that, one key difference I see would be the difference in curriculum structure. In JC, we do have a very structured curriculum plan, whereas in uni, it's more of a self-discipline style of curriculum. So I think that's one thing for us to note for prospective students. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so that's the poly perspective and JC perspective done. But I think another perspective that many guys would want to know about is the NS perspective. So Junhong, give us more about that.
Okay, so between NS and uni, I had a 9 months break. So I haven't been studying for around 2 years because NS was 2 years. So I had to get back into the groove. I haven't been studying for a long time. So I had to like pick up the rhythm again. So I also talked to some seniors. So they were recommending that to pick up because in computer science you need a lot of math. So they were saying that you should refresh on math. So luckily NTU has some like math refresher courses that you can take up. Whether it's for A-level students or poly students, that will help you to so-called give you a bit of a background and basics and let's say refresh your memory on that. So another thing that they also have a peer tutoring support program that can help you all as well. So for me also another thing is that I have done a bit of coding before uni. So for me it was more of a refreshment rather than I to pick up. But I think for students that don't have their background, they probably want to like do a bit of like online courses and things like that to so-called pick up to understand a bit of Python here and there to make sure that they understand what's going on. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your perspective. So now that we kind of know how we move the shift into NTU itself, I think what many people might want to know about is why NTU? Why should they choose NTU for their undergraduate studies? So Kin, share with us more about your decision-making process.
So my decision-making process was actually very simple. I really just wanted to stay in hall because that's like the only time where you can experience hall life, where you get to stay in a place with like people your age. Yeah, so I thought that was very interesting. And with other universities, it's either quite hard to like get hall or like maintain staying hall because the what's that? Quite high commitment levels, yeah, or either that or they don't have halls at all. But with NTU, we have like 2 years, like guaranteed 2 years of stay, not the first 2 years, but like 2 years within your uni life. So yeah, that was my main reasoning behind it.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that perspective. I think many people also look forward to the whole aspect of uni because it's the first time you kind of get that independence and you get to grow and have new experiences. So that's a very valid reason. So Sean, as a year 3 student, your experience might be relatable. So would you care to share your reasons for choosing NTU?
So personally for me, actually, one of the reasons that I chose NTU is because it's very fast, it's catered to my needs, and the amount of AU's academic units that I could transfer was 30. So I actually took exemption tests and I actually have 30 academic units that are exempted. So that accelerated how I passed in uni, and also I feel that the engineering, because for me I'm in computer engineering, so I feel that the engineering rigor here and the hardware aspect of things meets the needs that I want to do in cybersecurity. Yeah.
Okay, I think relating to that, we have a slider question for you specifically. So why did you pick computer engineering in NTU specifically, rather than picking a specialized degree program such as Bachelor of Computing in Information Security in NUS?
So NUS InfoSec is actually one of the competing programs that I actually looked at, and I also looked at their curriculum. But ultimately why I chose NTU CE is because for me personally, I feel that now there's a lot of, this is my personal perspective, so a lot of cybersecurity focus now is on more software security. So what I envision in the future is, because of the recent hacks, if you are in the cybersecurity space, you will know that there are a lot of recent ransomware attacks or chip level attacks. They are more hardware based. So personally, I feel that hardware security is something that will grow bigger in the future, and that's what I'm trying to bet on. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your perspective. Okay, so of course, when we talk about SCSE and NTU, we want to find out what actually goes on within our lessons. So let's get some perspectives on academics and the study life at NTU. So let's go to Junhong. You're doing a double degree program in business and computer science. This means taking modules from both SCSE and NBS. So in both these schools, you're taking lessons. How is this experience like, and how do they differ in these two schools?
Alright, so firstly, for com science and business school, they teach their lessons differently. So for computer science, most of the courses are conducted with labs, tutorials, and lectures, and they're usually spread out within different days. So for a business school, they will have seminars where you have to attend them, whereas for com science school, usually the lectures are conducted online because of COVID restrictions. But as for the labs and tutorial, they are usually conducted physically. So you can go in, interact with the profs, ask questions, and try to clarify any doubts you have. As for the business school, Usually because of the way they are conducted, like in seminars, you also have a huge part of it in class participation, which means that you have to actually like be active in class to actually get the class participation points. So therefore, right, you might have to have like more preparation beforehand, before you attend the classes, so as to get the full effect of it. Whereas in comp science school, because of the way the lectures are conducted, they are usually recorded as well. So you can actually like go back and have a look and try to, maybe you can watch it at different speeds to like cater to your learning needs. Yeah, so that's like the main difference between the two schools. Hopefully that like when COVID ends, hopefully the lectures will be more physical, then you have more interactions as well.
Thank you, Junhong. I think, yeah, for now, business and computing, it kind of gives you two different ends where you get to interact a lot in the business, and then computer science is kind of like you get to choose how much you want to interact and kind of stuff. I think we have a follow-up question for you from Slido. So since you're doing a double degree program, is it double the load? Do you have to do 2 degrees in the span of 4 years? How's it like?
Okay, like because if you see in the name, it says double degree, right? Naturally, people would think that it's double the workload. Actually, it's not really the case, because the way NTU has structured its curriculum, most of the mods are quite overlapping. So you actually have like a duplicate mods from both sides, and then NTU just requires you to take one of the mods from either of the schools. So for example, database, I will be taking under business school, or even though like comp science school also offers that. So therefore, right, if you do a calculation and things like that, you will realize that usually you only take about one mod extra every semester. So it's not really as much as you think. It's not really a double the workload. The way they structured this is that because in a let's say single degree, right, we have something called unrestricted electives. So you can take any mods you want. But for let's say a double degree, those will be kind of replaced with the business mods. So therefore, like you kind of still have like, that's why the workload is not as double. But the thing is, obviously, you might have less flexibility like in the mods you can take. So it's obviously there's like some sort of sacrifice and like that. Yep. So I would say that the workload is not really as hard as the name sounds. So if you really manage your time wisely, you will definitely find it manageable.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, and it's also like a 4.5-year course squeezed into 4 years of curriculum. So therefore, maybe every mod that you take, every sem, you might be taking a few more mods than your peers. But I think with good time management, it will all be okay. Moving on, I think a main question many students have, including myself before I came into uni, is what is the difference between computer engineering and computer science? We are very fortunate to have 2 students here who actually made the switch from computer science to computer engineering and vice versa. So let's hear from them. What was their reasoning behind their decision? Let's start with Kin. Having made the switch from computer science to computer engineering, what do you think is the difference between the 2 courses?
So the main difference is like for computer science, it's around 80% software and maybe like 20% hardware. Like you barely even touch it actually. Yeah, but for computer engineering, it's more balanced. It's half and half. And if you count the different modules, right, it's actually like maybe 7 around there only. So it's not very different. And in year 4, so you can take more or less similar specializations. Yeah, but for the courses, each of them, CS is more group-based. So like almost every module in CS is like group projects and all. But for computer engineering, I have like more individual projects, which I prefer. Yeah, and also I was from a EEE background. So going from like full hardware and to like no hardware, or it was like something was missing for me, so I just have to make the switch. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So basically, computer engineering has more hardware, and that's what you preferred.
That's right.
Yes. Okay, so let's get the other perspective. So I think it's Ting Ting. So why did you make the switch from computer engineering to computer science?
Right, okay, so for me, actually, like, to be honest, even until now, I'm interested in the curriculum from both computer engineering and computer science. But initially, I chose computer engineering as I wanted more hands-on experience with hardware. But then I was also still very interested to learn like the computing and software aspects, because my course in Poly is actually a bit too specialized in game development. So there were actually a lot of computing theories that I did not understand yet, and that was something that I wanted to learn when I first entered university. So actually, like, I also realized that with a computer science degree, I can still go into engineering fields, such as to be an electronics engineer, embedded a software developer or a robotics engineer. So I could still explore my interest in engineering with a computer science degree in NTU, where it's a Bachelor of Engineering. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I think what we can kind of understand from these two perspectives is that ultimately it's a personal choice, and I think you really need to kind of maybe go to the NTU website, see what's computer engineering, computer science, see the modules offered and the syllabus of the modules offered. See if you see something and it's really not your taste, then you kind of have your decision made for you then. So yeah, so that's kind of CS versus CE. So now we move on to DSAI. So Johnson, why did you pick DSAI, and how is it different from CE and CS? What sets it apart from similar courses that other universities in Singapore offer as well?
So for my case, I had a natural inclination in math already during my pre-university days. Alright, so I wanted to do something in my university that has a lot of focus on math as well. But I also want to do something more interdisciplinary, so learning computing in addition to math. And I chanced upon this program, and I saw that this program is quite special because it's offered by two different schools. It's a joint program between two different schools in NTU, namely the School of Computer Science and Engineering, as well as the School of Physical and Mathematical Sciences. So in my case, I take computing modules from SCSE, whereas my mathematical sciences modules are offered by SPMS. And I believe that this is a great synergy because I am able to learn from people from two different schools, and I am able to say that being in the midpoint between these two schools helped me a lot in my career search as well, where I wanted to work with something more analytical.
Yeah, okay. So I think it's more of a combination within SPMS and SCSE, so you kind of get the more mathematical, rigorous side of everything. Right, okay. I think we have a slider question for you, where are there double majors or double degrees with DSAI?
I believe that NTU has offered a new double degree called Accountancy and DSAI. I'm not really familiar with the specifics yet. Please refer to the website. But I believe that the plan that NTU has right now is to make students more interdisciplinary and have domain knowledge in addition to the necessary analytical background that will help them in their career.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so if you have any further queries or questions, I'm sure you can check the NTU website, and they'll kind of list what specialization, what double major or double degree program we have, and the modules and syllabus offered. Okay, so now that we know more about the decision process we all went through, let's find out what actually goes on in the lessons. Given that NTU has more of a hybrid approach, we have both virtual and physical lessons. Sean, having enrolled into NTU in 2020, in the peak of the COVID-19 time, how has COVID impacted your uni life?
So yes, COVID is unfortunate, but so it definitely means smaller group sizes, but smaller group sizes also mean more closer relationships, closer bonds that we form with our friends. Yeah, so I guess it trains our grit in how we move on in life also. And for classes, how classes are conducted, so there are three forms of classes mainly: the lectures, your labs, and your tutorials. So lectures, if the lecture is really, really small, they can be still conducted in lecture theatres, but normally they will be done on Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or Blackboard Collaborate, which is our school portal. And as for labs, labs are still physical. You'll go down to the SCSE labs to do your labs. Yeah. And for tutorials, small tutorials are still done physically also at the tutorial rooms. So you can get to know and meet new friends at the different places. Yeah.
Okay, got you. Let's ask Johnson, do you have any advice for freshmen on how to make most of their virtual lessons?
I believe currently NTU is having a hybrid approach towards learning. So they have virtual online classes in addition to physical labs. For virtual online classes, I believe that the platform that NTU is using, namely Zoom or Microsoft Teams, has a chat function which I believe everybody knows how to use. So in general, I do think that the profs are really helpful. You can just raise any questions you have in the chat bar, and they will take their time to clarify the questions that you have before moving on with the lecture. Alternatively, I believe you can drop the profs any emails after the class, and I'm sure he'll be able to reply within the day itself. In addition to that, as I mentioned just now, NTU having hybrid approach, the physical labs are a great team-based learning opportunity that I feel that freshmen should obviously take on, because you can go to the physical labs and interact with the hardware as well as talking with your potential classmates as well. Learning things in isolation is not as good as learning it with your friends. That is what I feel. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Learning things with friends is always better. Okay, so I think we can ask Junhong. We touched on how you're doing a double degree in business and computing, but given that business seminars tend to be more physical, what is the difference you might notice between your two degrees, and how has it affected your academic experience per se?
Okay, so like I mentioned just now, right, like business have more seminars, whereas the computer science school has more labs, tutorials and all. So for business, right, you will actually, when you do group projects and things like that, you actually would like have more interactions because you actually meet the people physically. Most of the lessons are conducted like let's say physically, so you will actually meet them quite often. So sometimes during class, like if you during breaks, you actually talk about things other than the work. So you actually can, it's much easier for you to like make friends in a way. So like I would say that it will be less boring, like what the previous panelists have said, that it's always better to do it with your friends than do it alone. Therefore, like, I mean, having these physical classes as well actually kind of give you the opportunity to, let's say, interact with them. You can actually interact them with during the breaks and things like that. You will actually understand, like, maybe, oh, this guy has a different perspective of life. Some of them, why do they study so hard or things like that? You will actually find out a lot of interesting things about them. So for com science, I mean, for computer science school, because there are also, like, labs are still conducted physically. You also have this kind of opportunity as well. Obviously, like, sometimes tutorials, I mean, some of the people don't, because tutorial, how to say, it's not really compulsory, sometimes the attendance. So the attendance rate might be lower, but I would say, I would recommend that you all will go to it, because like, that's like one of the only places where you can have an interaction with the professors and things like that. So like, if you have a chat with the professors about the topic, most of the professors here are very friendly, and they are kind of, how to say, they are very interested in their topic, in their research topics. So like interaction with them and things like that will make your life like much more easier here. So I would say that definitely you will want to meet people here. Like, yes, you have to study. I mean, you have to study hard, study well. But then like the social life, although there's, I mean, a global pandemic coming on, just try to make full use of the time. Like, try to interact with more people as well to make full use of your uni life, right? So like you may never know, like maybe in your working life or things like that, these people, you might meet them again, right? So yeah, so just try to make more friends while you're here.
Yeah, making friends is a must. So speaking of friends, forget about classes, enough about that. How is the social life during these weird times? Do you still have CCAs, or is it just cooped up in your hall in front of your Zoom screen? Do you have a social life? Anyone can answer. Go for it. Yeah. Kim?
So CCAs are still ongoing. I mean, obviously it's not the same as before. Like, it's in like smaller groups and all, but like they are still going on. Don't worry about it. And like what we mentioned earlier, we still have classes. Like half of them are still physical. So you can still have like, I don't know, lunch or dinner with your friends before after class. So I mean, obviously it's a bit affected, but like it's not so bad. So don't worry about it.
Okay. Anyone else? No, I can share my own experience. So like for me, I think one of the main important things is that I joined both my faculty orientation as well as hall orientation. And even though it was completely through Zoom, I think it really helped me meet new people, make new friends. Like I met faculty friends so that my first few weeks of class, I knew who to go to class with, kind of thing. Made friends that I'm still in contact with today. And as for CCAs, like I think COVID kind of like forced things to change. So for example, MC Cup, we had like Zoom trainings. But now that COVID is kind of getting better, we're kind of resuming in real life training. Like even for dance CCAs, we have dance sessions, but just that everyone wears masks. But I think that we'll take that over a Zoom dance class any day. So yeah, I think that social life is really kind of on you. Like you can go out there, make friends, because everyone's kind of in the same situation as you. So everyone kind of wants to make friends. So just step out of your comfort zone and have fun. Yeah, okay. So I think the next question from Slido is, how is the orientation program hosted for NTU SCSE, so the faculty orientation. Is it also virtual or physical for the incoming batch? Sean?
I think I can answer that question. So I'm actually the current financial controller for the upcoming orientation. So for the past two batches, we have been doing virtual orientation, but fortunately for this upcoming one, we are actually planning a hybrid one, so there will be virtual days and physical days. So not to worry. Yeah, we'll be also releasing a SCSE transition orientation program website in July, so do look out for that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. So now that we kind of covered the classes and the academic stuff, let's move on to more fun stuff. So of course there's much more to life than studies. I think a big welcoming change is the ability in uni to choose to craft your non-academic life in the way you want. You have the kind of freedom and flexibility to do that. So Kin, I know you had a very good time at Hall, so how was your experience in Hall and what is your advice to freshmen coming in?
Okay, so I was lucky enough to be a freshie in a physical camp instead of like a virtual one because I came in before COVID did. Yeah, so my OG is still very bonded. We still eat lunch, dinner together. So for Hall, we have CCAs, and the good thing about Hall CCAs is that unlike the school ones, right, it's more chill. The school ones are like you go for competition and all that is very vigorous and all. But for Hall, you can go if you want, you can don't go if you want, and then even if you go, you can just go and have fun. Even if you're bad at it, don't worry about it. Just go there, make friends, have fun and all that. And if you like plan to stay in Hall or if you got into a Hall, please go for the camps. Even if you're like very, very introverted, right? You need friends. And that's how you make friends. Yeah. And it's really interesting because like you get to meet people from different faculties instead of just being stuck in like SCSE alone and all that. Yeah. So that's my point.
Okay, Sean, you were involved in both the school TOP as well as Hall orientation. How has your experience been in these two fields?
So mostly the different comments I did for school and faculty are, school and for Hall is more GL related, which is group leader. So personally, I like to give what I have like learned from my GLs and let the freshmen who come in to, get started on their feet like in SCSE and in Hall the best that they can. So I want to equip them with all the different like knowledge so that they don't get confused like what is STARS. STARS is actually the way that you get your module. So yeah, basically what is STARS, how do you get Hall, how do you join CCAs, all these stuff of things. So yeah, I've been doing faculty and Hall related like transition orientation program for this my second year doing it because I like to give it back. So yeah, so you can look out for me if you are going for orientation. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think kind of going for this orientation, like apart from meeting new people and meeting friends, you also meet seniors and you get the kind of guidance that you need. You're not so lost. Any question you have, you can reach out to your OGL or your seniors and be like, hey, what is STARS? What am I supposed to bid for? So I think it's always good to kind of have that guidance with you. Okay, Johnson, you were part of the SCSE club. You're part of the main committee. So can you share with us more about your favorite experiences with the club and what SCSE club does?
Sure. So for you guys that don't know, SCSE club is like a student-led initiative where we have a lot of SCSE students who work on projects or initiatives for the general SCSE population. So some of the events that we host are hackathons for students, career workshops, and even something called an inter-school game, where we send representatives from SCSE to compete with other schools in sports games. One favorite experience that I had was onboarding sponsors for our EWI. It's called our Exam Welfare Initiative. So about 2 or 3 weeks before our final exam period, we would typically prepare a lot of self-care kits and study notepads for our general student population. And the students can come down and collect it at our student lounge. So it was quite a big event and everybody was quite happy with all of the goodies that they received for free, which we had sourced from our external sponsors.
Okay, thank you for that. Shahang, I think a decision that everyone needs to make is whether to stay on hall or not. So what is kind of your perspective on the pros and cons of staying on campus, and what should a student keep in mind while deciding?
I'll talk about the con first. So the only flaw, or maybe the only bad thing, is that it incurs a cost. But if you are intending to stay on campus, you don't have to worry, because the halls here are heavily subsidized by the schools. So I think it's made affordable for most of us. And about the pros, I think you can save a lot of time if you are staying on campus. And on top of that, there are a lot of facilities in school for students to network, make friends, study together. It's all around school. But I think you don't have to worry even if you're not staying on campus, because these facilities are made available to the public. So one question that might come up would be, is there a need to stay in campus during these times, since a lot of lessons are made hybridized? I think you can ask for advice from your seniors, maybe during semesters that you are busier or the modules are more heavy. You can consider to stay during these semesters so that it can save you a lot of time traveling to and fro NTU.
Yeah, I think that's definitely good advice. For example, I have a friend who stays in Tampines, and she's also involved in sports, and she also has a very heavy curriculum. So it does not, she says she has to stay in hall, if not she'll have to travel like 2 hours after like a 10 p.m. prac or something. So yeah, I think it really depends on your personal preference and your personal like circumstances. But as Shaha mentioned, you can get the full university experience regardless of whether you stay in hall or not, because there's always opportunities to kind of meet new people and socialize. Okay. So now we have a question specifically about hall, which is, which hall would y'all recommend to stay for those students going to SCSE? And pros and cons, if you can share them. Any opinions?
I'll start first.
Yes.
I feel like, okay, it doesn't really matter. Like, because we have campus buses, so everywhere is kind of connected, so it doesn't really matter. But if you want like walking distance, I think hall 16 and 3 are pretty nearby. But the thing is, if you're a freshie coming in, you can't really choose where you want to stay either. So just apply for it, doesn't matter. Yeah, they are all very, it's not very far, so yeah.
Any other opinions? Yes.
Maybe just to add on, because I myself stayed in hall 16 year 1. So really, hall 16 and hall 3 are the nearest to SCSE. Like, because if I remember correctly, because I mean it's COVID now, but there was physical lectures before COVID. So I remember like I just have to wake up like 5 minutes before lesson time, and I could actually make it to lecture time. So I could make it on time. So I would say that hall 3 and hall 16 are really the nearest hall to SCSE, which is what I would recommend. And also like, because hall 3 and 16 are the closest to North Spine, which is also where all the canteens, all the food, and a lot of stuff are done. And also the Com Science School is near North Spine. Therefore, I would say that hall 3 and hall 16 are, if in terms of proximity, are the best if you are studying in SCSE. The other halls are also quite connected, like what Kin said, like by buses. But then if you enjoy walking a lot more, like you really like the close proximity, definitely hall 3 or 16.
Okay, thank you for your perspectives. But I think the answers right now are very practical. It's about how we get to school. So let's move on to more fun things, which is food. So if people want to eat good food, which hall should they choose? Or okay, how about we go about sharing our favorite food and which hall it's closest to? Okay, you can start.
Okay, for me, right, I think my favorite canteen is the NIE canteen, which is actually quite close to North Spine. So the food there is probably the cheapest in the whole of NTU. So they have like bak chor mee, they have Western food, Muslim food, and things like that. And the price is really, really cheap. The only downside is that it's slightly further away. Like if you are walking from North Spine, you do have to walk a bit of distance because it's in the other end of NIE. But I can guarantee you it's really worth the walking distance. So and the NIE is closest again to hall 3 and hall 16, which is why I highly recommend those two halls.
Personally, for me, I enjoy the food at NIE the most as well. But it was recommended to me by Junhong. Yeah. So my personal favorite.
Okay.
For me, I like the mala at Tamarind Canteen. It is near, I think, hall 7 as well. Yeah, that's all.
I like a hot hideout from North Hill. Yeah, it's not bad mala. I like it.
I stay at Hall 11, so like the mixed rice at Canteen 11 is the best in NTU, and we are also very near 3 other canteens. So yeah, I think Hall 11 is great.
For me personally, I like the mala at North Hill Halls, but personally I'm staying at the Nanyang Crescent cluster, which is Hall 7, Tamarind, and Saraka Hall, which has the Tamarind canteen. And what's interesting about that hall that is different from other halls, right, is that there is this room type. It's a single, single attached. So you actually have your own toilet in the own room. So yeah, so that gives you way more privacy. You know, like the other halls, they all have shared toilets. But only for these 3 halls, they have their own toilets. So yeah, you can look out for that when you apply for.
Yes, not really food. But yes. Yeah, okay. I think, yeah, it's a very special thing for, I think, the Tamarind, Saraka, Hall 7 buildings. For me, I think, in terms of food, so I'm vegetarian. So my favorite food at North Spine is like, there's this vegetarian stall, and it's very good. It's like Thai fun, but vegetarian. And it's like very good fake meat, I think. Then there's also like at Tamarind Canteen, so the mala is very good according to my friends. The Indian stall is also very good. And I think my friends have also attested that it's very good. And if you want a Western, my favorite is Pasta Express at North Spine, not sponsored. But yeah, it's very good as well. Okay, so those are our opinions on food. Moving on to hackathons and personal journey. As computing students, maybe some want to find out about the kind of drive we have as a community. Xiaohang, how has your experience been participating in hackathons? I know that you participated in quite a few in year 1. Yeah.
My experience in participating in hackathons has been quite a fruitful one, because every time I participate in a hackathon, I throw myself into an environment when I'm forced to pick up new tech stacks within a limited time frame, which is really beneficial for people like me because I tend to procrastinate a lot. So I participated in hackathons. Most of the hackathons were during year 1 when I had more time, and I think it's a good experience to broaden your technical depth, technical knowledge, and you are able to touch on things that are not taught in school. So aside from all the theories, you get more practical out of this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely we have to kind of push ourselves into these new experiences because, of course, SCSE teaches you about like how to code and all the important stuff. But by going for these hackathons and stuff, you kind of push yourself, and by the end of it, you kind of learn from your teammates. You get their skill sets, you give your skill sets to others, and it's all around kind of like a growing experience. So yeah, in year 1, if you have time, definitely go for hackathons. Yes. Okay. So Kin, how do you pursue your passions and interests?
So the interesting thing about university is like your holidays are all bunched into one 3-month long summer break. So that's a lot of time for you to explore a lot of things. So we say computing, but it's a very broad like spectrum, and like there are a lot of small little sections that you can explore. And you, when you're first coming in, you probably won't know what you like. Even until now, I'm still exploring myself. So I would suggest that you go for like summer internships. That's where you can like get to experience the industry. Like how is it like? Maybe you like it, maybe you don't like it. And then, yeah, that's how you kind of do it. So for myself, I went for a summer internship last year. I went to Qualcomm. They were doing like chips. They were doing 5G chips. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. And I didn't know what it was at first, but I was like, okay, whatever, I just go for it. And then I got it, luckily. And the funny thing was that the next semester, like a lot of my modules were actually related to what I learned in internship. So it was a pretty cool experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Kin, for that. So a slighter question is, does SCSE actually plan any hackathons or competitions? What are the computing-related clubs or options? So I think, Johnson, do you want to take that?
Sure. So
Okay.
One main event that SCSE Club hosts for its student body will be called Tech Fest. So it's like a 24-hour hackathon where you get to work on projects with other SCSE students. And there are a lot of topics that you can work on, hardware related or software related. So students are not restricted to code out a web application or mobile application in order to win the hackathon. There are multiple criteria for judging. And in related point to the other clubs that are computing related in NTU, we do have quite a few. namely blockchain at NTU, women in tech, IEEE, and open source society. So if you do not want to join the SCSE club, there's a lot of other interest-based clubs where you get to interact with people from different schools that you can join as well.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that insight. So those are some options for you to join if you do want to. I think we have another question about what's the best module you've taken so far at NTU? So any strong opinions on your favorite mod?
Okay, so like actually I took this module in my first semester. It's called Introduction to Creative Writing. So this one is under the unrestricted elective. I believe it's now called Broadening and Deepening Electives. So yeah, I think it's really great that like NTU gives you a chance to like take courses from like other faculties and really like broaden your experiences. So you're not just focused on like learning things related to your major. You get to like learn more about like other fields. So like I think some of the other popular electives are like marketing. Yeah, a lot of people love to take like languages like German, Thai, French. Yeah.
So talking about languages, yes. So for myself, I don't have any UEs to take because I was from Polytechnic and they kind of like exempt me from every UE. But I really, really wanted to take Korean because I'm a bit of a K-boo myself. Yeah, so me and my roomie, we took it together and it was really fun because, I mean, she's from another school. She was from like Wikimwi, the communication school. So it was a very cool experience. Like you get to meet a lot of people from like different schools and all. And overall, it was a very fun course for me. Yeah.
Junhong?
Okay, for me, right, because same as Kin, I don't have a lot of unrestricted electives to take, so I'll focus more on computer science mods. So one of the mods I took was applied cryptography. So like because I'm quite interested in cybersecurity, and I'm also kind of a math person. So that mods like gives you like a introduction to like, let's say, how math is like applied, you know, in encryption, cryptography, and things like that. So like that mod also interests me a lot, and the two profs that taught the module were quite experienced in the area, and they were quite passionate about it, which made it much more interesting for me. So another mod that I would actually enjoy is I'm not sure whether I should. Okay, it's a multidisciplinary project. So basically, like you basically have to build a robot to so-called navigate the course. Some course to like so-called like complete some tasks like that. Even though like the first few weeks it was quite challenging, but after a while, right, like I mean like all the hard work kind of paid off, I think, because we did quite okay. So like the mods, I mean that mod was, I mean I made a lot of new friends on the way. Although like it was quite hectic in the mod. Yeah. So the robot for that for the course is right here. So like it was quite. I mean like yeah. You have to use a lot of effort to do it. So like, but at the end of the day, like I enjoyed my time even though it was quite hectic. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the answer. So I guess now there's some opinions on favorite mods. So yes, I think there's a lot of unrestricted electives that's offered. So you can really like any passions that you have outside of the current like SCSE modules that are offered, you can go and take them. Yeah, okay, so let's move on to something that maybe students are quite interested about, which is internships. So a part of university is exploring your interests and future career options, and a way to do that is through internships. But I think before we go into internships themselves, one main question is, what's better, projects or internships? Is it better to do your own projects or maybe like group projects, or is it better to do internships? Which one looks better or like serves you better in the future? Any takers?
Hi, okay. So I think like this really depends on what you want to do in the future. So of course you may not know what you want to do now. So I do recommend that you should really try different things, get yourself exposed during your time in uni. So say for example like projects, it could be like maybe freelance projects or like school projects or side projects that you wish to do as a hobby or like in your free time. Maybe we get some friends and do it together with you. Or maybe there are academic projects as well. So there are like several research projects that are available in NTU. So there's a program called Eureka, so where you can like take up research projects under a professor and do it for like an entire academic year. So there are different types of projects, and I think like the difference between projects and internships is that through an internship you can get to see like how a company works. So like for example, like how does the industry actually like go about doing their development. It may be a bit different because say they have access to commercial software and products and programs, or like you can just get to see how like the company culture is like. Yeah. But of course, projects is very good also. Like recruiters can really see that you have a lot of initiative, and I think that looks really good on your resume as well.
Yeah, I think it's always good to show that you have these passions that you are so passionate about that you pursue them outside in your own free time. So thank you for that. Now let's move to Johnson. As a year 4 student, you kind of have all these experiences stacked up. So share with us more of the process of applying for your credit-bearing internship and your self-sourced internships.
So as part of this program that I'm under, DSAI, I'm required to do a PI. So it's like a 20-week long attachment where I intern with a company. So NTU provides a lot of options to help you secure your internship. Namely, we call it the CAO, Career Access Office. What they do is they gather a lot of job listings from companies and they aggregate and they will send out emails to you students where you can apply. Sometimes you cannot look at sometimes you can use their portal to source for your internship opportunities, as well as using additional external platforms such as LinkedIn or Glassdoor or Noteflare. I believe that throughout my internships, I always learn something new in each of them because I work in different roles, some being more analytically focused and some being more software engineering focused. The curriculum that I'm taking right now, where I am using, where I'm learning computing as well as mathematical modules, helped me in taking on these diverse roles, because without them, I think I would be quite restricted in my career opportunities.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that insight. I think some people on Slido kind of want to know, do you convert internships to jobs? Is that common? Do people do that? What's the process?
I think it's quite common that for some companies where if you have a very good performance and you are able to work with your manager and teammates very well, they would love to onboard you as a full-timer after your internship. But I do know that some people might prefer to try a new field because the internship that they worked on was what they did not have in mind when they signed up. But I think that is part of life. Internships are always a learning opportunities, and I believe that knowing what you want as a fresh graduate is always better than learning 2 years or 3 years after you graduate. So in terms of internships, you can convert or you can use it as a stepping stone and look for something that fits or aligns with your interests more.
Thank you for that insight. Yeah, definitely. I think you kind of go for internships to figure out your likes and dislikes. So maybe you go for an internship and you realize, oh, I really dislike this field, and that's great. So you know what not to go for in the future. And you similarly figure out your likes, so you know that you kind of want to stay in this field and want to go for these kind of jobs. Yeah, thank you for that insight, Johnson. Junhong, so you're doing a double degree. How has this shaped kind of your internship hunt and experiences in this job hunting time?
I mean, like, okay, so in your resume, I mean, if you put a double degree, definitely it has like, it stands out more to, let's say, recruiters and things like that. So definitely when they see that you have a business degree, those financial firms would definitely pay more attention to your degree because in business, you take a bit of business mods, I mean like law mods, accounting mods and things like that. So you have kind of a fundamental understanding in like those financial areas and things like that. So therefore, they are more likely to so-called like, your resume is more likely to like stick up to them, and during interviews kind of like you will have like a bit of more talking points. People will be asking, oh, you're taking a double degree, how do you manage your time and things like that. You so like you can craft your answers like in a way that you can help them shine. So but just to take a note, right, so for like a single degree, let's say in computer science, you will actually do a professional internship, which is a 6-month program. So for like a a double degree business and computing, usually we take what is called a professional attachment. So we actually complete our credit bearing professional attachment during like the summer breaks. So it will be a 10 weeks internship. So that's like a slight difference between a single degree and a double degree. So like that's something like you should take note of.
Okay, thank you for that insight. I think, Sean, this next question is for you. There are other ways you can upskill and hone the skills you want to, and I think you've taken up self-learning thus far, so maybe you can share with us your experiences, and how can incoming students kind of expose themselves to more computing areas so that they can find out what they want to do in uni?
So one of the questions that a lot of my freshmen always ask me is, I've come into computer science, I've come into computer engineering, but I don't know what I want to do in the future, you know. So one thing I would say is, do not worry if a lot of your friends say, oh, I got an internship or I have projects, they know what they're doing, but you don't know what they're doing, you are scared, you know. So do not be scared. There's this actually, NTU actually has this thing called Massive Online Open Courses, MOOC, which means that you can take paid introductory courses. There's a list of courses that actually they have credit transfer, so you can transfer up to 12 academic units, and that can help you to actually explore different computing areas, computing fields. So like maybe you want to do something in introduction to data science, or do something in cybersecurity. Or for me, because I already know like I want to do cybersecurity, so for me, my summer holidays are spent more on finding job, like full-time jobs. So I look at full-time jobs, let's say cybersecurity, something. They say, okay, they need OSCP, let's say it's a penetration testing certificate. So for me, it's like I will work towards a certificate that the employers want. So yeah, but if you don't know what you want to do, you should look for one of the MOOCs that the school provides so that you can start to explore. Yeah, but if you know what you like and you don't have an internship, you can work backwards. That means like, oh, this is the job that I want. This is the certificate that they want. I'm going to work to the certificate. So for last summer, actually, I renewed my Certified Ethical Hacker certification, and for the rest of this year, I'm trying to work on the OSCP, which is penetration testing certificate. Yeah. So as the government will say, oh, you should always learn. Like learning is a lifelong thing. Yeah, I truly believe that, and I hope you all should do that also, so that you can explore more than what you know of. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think another thing I would like to add on is that maybe if you're trying to figure out if you like computing at all, maybe you can, I think there's multiple YouTube videos which teach you the basics of Python, or like CS50, courses like that. So maybe you can do those courses because they teach you the basic fundamentals of coding, and then if you find out that you really dislike it, you have your answer, or you find out that you really like it and you have your answer as well. So yeah, thank you for that. And let's move on to exchange. Exchange programs. So internships are not the only way you get to kind of broaden your horizons and learn and grow. You can definitely do that on exchange programs as well. And as the situation with COVID gets better, exchange programs are reopening, and there is much to look forward to. Shahang, I know that you went for exchange at NUS and Tsinghua, so how was your experience there?
I had my exchange at NUS during the peak of COVID, and so I had a virtual exchange. But at NUS, I managed to make more friends, socialize with students outside of simply the circle inside NTU. And a lot of them, I still do keep in contact with them. And we share opportunities, learning points, or even networking sessions with one another, even until now. So I think it's really helpful to socialize with peers in the same industry outside of just your current social circle. And at Tsinghua, because I'm unable to fly there at the moment, I had a chance to interact with students, masters and PhD students, and it really helped me to broaden my perspective on the things I'm learning, some advice from them as someone who has been through this journey. So it really helped to enlighten me in what I'm learning. For example, how should I prep myself to advance in fields such as data science? Or what can I do to explore and know more about this field? Things like that. So I think it's a really good opportunity to put yourself out there, to go for exchange. So if you have the opportunity, I think you should go for it.
Hey, thank you for that. Yeah, I think exchanges kind of give you like a sneak peek into the real world, because you kind of get to step out of your cocoon, you get a reality check you know how others are doing, you know areas you can improve on or grow in. So it's always a very good experience. And I think I can kind of give my own experience, because I think as COVID gets better, NTU has started GEM Explorer again. And what GEM Explorer is NTU's program for overseas exchange. So you get to go 1 semester overseas to do your university semester there. So instead of doing maybe like year 3 sem 2 in NTU, I would be doing it overseas. So NTU has started that up again, and we have like over 200 universities to choose from, and you just have to apply, put your 3 choices and hope that you get it. And then you have an exchange opportunity to go overseas and learn the things in a new setting. Yeah, so that's something to look forward to. So we'll move on to another thing that maybe students are very keen to find out about, and that is scholarships. So let's ask Ting, how has a scholarship offered by NTU aided you in your university journey?
Alright, so firstly, I'm on the NTU College Scholarship. So that is a bond-free scholarship where my school fees are paid for. And I think what really helped me was, initially I was actually working for a short time before uni, and then I was also working part-time initially. But then with the scholarship, yeah, really like I was able to like not have to worry about it, because honestly it was getting quite taxing. So I chose to like stop working, and then I could focus on like my studies. And I think like yeah, I really appreciated having a scholarship, so like I was able to focus on exploring my career interests more. So like I went to like take additional classes and courses in NTU since I had more free time. Yeah, and just really focus on my studies. So I think like for how to apply for an internship, when you're first applying to NTU, there will be an option where you can like select like that you wish to apply for a scholarship. So there are like several scholarship programs where they actually offer you more things. Like for example, there's a CN Young program where it has a more research focus. So you'll get to do like a research project after every year or semester. I think year, and then yeah, it really exposes you to like the research side of things. And then there's also a university scholars program. So yeah, you can like give those a try. Yeah, and then you'll probably have to answer like why you want the scholarship, and also like you'll go through an interview where they'll get to know you more, and try to see like how you approach problem solving and those sort of things.
Yeah, thank you for your perspective. I think we have a lot of NTU scholarships that you can kind of explore, and there's like the checkbox while applying that you want to apply for these, and it's always good to just try your luck and apply for these. So that's kind of the NTU side of scholarships. Let's go to Xiaohang. How has your scholarship shaped your internship experiences, and what are some pros and cons of holding an external scholarship?
To the first part of the question, how has it shaped my internship experiences? I'm very fortunate to have an organization that encourages me to do internships outside of just the organization that I'm bonded to. So they actually encouraged me to dab myself in, for example, startups, MNCs, just to have a feel of the cultures in other companies, and what are some of the positive and non-positive changes that I can bring back to the organization. And during that, there's a compulsory internship that I must complete with the organization. And during the internship itself, I was able to have the opportunity to choose the department that I wish to enter, to learn more things about that field. And moving on to the pros and cons of holding a scholarship. Holding an external scholarship, one of the pros is definitely having more financial freedom. So having the financial freedom helped me personally in a way to focus on academics and not trouble myself with other things like having to work part-time just to have my daily allowances. But there are a set of cons that comes with it as well. For example, it serves as a double-edged sword. At the same time, you have job security upon graduation, but at the same time, you lose out on possible opportunities that may be better. So I think you must be wise enough to, you must really understand the culture and the company that you are bonded to make sure you're certain you'll be comfortable working there in the future. Because breaking the bond often comes with a heavy penalty. Yeah, so I think one advice is you really have to do your research before applying for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for that perspective. I think with external scholarships, you kind of have to weigh the pros and cons of having that bond. So I think, as Shahang mentioned, you really need to know whether you want to work for that company, do you envision yourself in that company? And it's quite difficult to figure all of that out before university. So maybe you can reach out to seniors, other people who have that scholarship to kind of get a feel of the field. Okay, I think, Johnson, you're an international student, so could you share with us your experiences of applying into SCSE? What are the kind of qualifications? Was it an easy process? Yeah.
So I think you can refer to the most accurate application info on NTU's website. When I was applying, I used international A-levels to apply to NTU, which is different from, I think, a diploma or Singaporean A-levels. I had a generally quick process, so I applied, I think, sometime in 2018. I forgot the exact time, but it was the early half of the year.
Yeah.
And I got my reply, I think, 3 or 4 months later. Yeah. So I believe international students definitely are have a presence in NTU, and I do learn from a lot of people, namely Singaporeans and other nationalities when I'm in NTU. So my time as an international student was quite enjoyable. Yeah, I made a lot of local friends. Yeah. I learned a lot of local Singlish as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your perspective. So that's kind of the perspective of the international side of things, how as an international student you can make the leap into NTU. Okay, so moving on to kind of like the support group we have in NTU. Apart from like internships and scholarships and everything else, we have a solid support group here consisting of professors, seniors, and friends. Jingting, as a student in CS with an affinity for hardware, how have professors kind of guided you and helped you in this passion?
Right, so I would say that like the professors in NTU, they are really very supportive of us, and so like personally for me, I wanted to like take a bit of engineering courses, like from the computer engineering side. So the professors, I actually went to approach them, and then like I told them about my interest, and then they actually gave me access to the lecture materials and let me attend the lectures, tutorials, and labs. So I managed to learn the content. Yeah. So yeah, and also professors are like if they are doing quite a lot of research projects, they actually tend to share about them during their lectures, and then they will actually like say like if you are interested in working on some projects on the side, you are free to like approach them and like ask them about it, and like do your own stuff with them, or work on that project that they talked about. Yeah, so personally I also chose to like explore something within my own interest for my FYP. So I kind of like went ahead to propose a project that fits within my own interests. Yeah.
Thank you for that perspective. I think the key takeaway is to not be afraid to ask questions, not be afraid to approach your professors, because they're always willing to help. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know until like you really go and try. Yeah. And yeah, just reach out to them.
Correct. Okay, so I think we'll ask Kin. Do you have any advice, when you want advice on academics, do you go to your academic mentor? How has the system helped you?
So for context purpose, academic mentors are like your form teachers, because we no longer have like form classes, form teachers. We are kind of like free and easy. We are here and there. Yeah. But then NTU makes sure that you're not alone, so they kind of like attach you to academic mentor. But personally, I didn't know about this like program until I was in year 2, where my mentor reached out to me and she said like, he was like, are you okay because your GPA is dropping? And I was like, oh, I have an academic mentor, I didn't know about it. And I felt like I was not alone because I was kind of struggling at that point. Yeah, and it was really nice to kind of like have someone like watching over you, a bit like a parent like that. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, I took Korean even though I have no UE, so I had to go to him to sign like a special form. Yeah, so I think it's good that you have it. And now that you are listening to me, you know that you have academic mentor when you come to NTU. So yes, so if anything, you can go to them in the future. Yeah.
Correct. Thank you for that. So now everyone knows instead of finding out in
That's
year
right.
2. Yes. Okay. Thank you for that amazing tip. And we'll move on to Johnson. I think you were part of the peer tutoring system. So tell us more about your experiences and whether students should go for it and what they have to gain from it. Yeah.
Peer tutoring system is something started by SCSE faculty, not the student body, where they try to source for seniors who have taken a module to come back and volunteer to teach juniors who are currently taking this mod. So for me, I was a tutor for the course Introduction to Computational Thinking. I myself underwent the module and I found out how tough it is for someone without any background in computing. And I work with the course coordinator to prepare some materials that I find that the students will more easily understand the topic. So while the lectures in of itself is self-contained, there are some additional concepts that if you know will make the learning journey much more easier. And I recommend that people, if they have the time, to sign up for these extra lessons to learn a new perspective.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I think that kind of covers the support part of NTU, and of course there's always the support system of your friends, the friends you make in orientation, the friends you make in hall, the friends you make in your classes. So yeah, it's always you're not short for friends. You can always make friends anywhere you go. I think another question we have from Slido is, how is the NTU library and is it open 24 hours in general?
I think most of the libraries open at like 8:30 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, we have a lot of libraries here. Like literally every corner is just library. Even until now, I haven't been to most of the libraries. I've only been to like maybe 3 of them. Yeah, correct. So it's really fun. You can like, I don't know, go library hopping one day with your friends if you want to when you come to NTU. Yeah, and we also have like a lot of study areas. So you don't have to worry about it. So if you don't have hall especially, and if you have like maybe 3 hours of break in between your classes, yeah, you can go there and chill and do your work with your friends. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. So as we found out, there's many libraries in NTU and they're all very beautiful, so you can spend time exploring them, and they always have these nooks and like there's rooms where you can study with your friends, or like very dedicated space for you to just find a quiet space and study. So I think this is where you can also make full use of the NTU facilities if you don't stay in hall. So if you don't stay in hall, you might be like, oh, I don't have access to a lounge or anything, but fret not. There's a lot of library resources and a lot of spaces where you can explore and have a good time with your friends. So I think we have a few more Slido questions, so let's see how many we can go through before we hit our time limit. Johnson, how are the employment rates and starting salary of DSAI students? Do you know?
So the GES, which is called the Graduate Employment Survey for our course, is not released yet, since my cohort has not graduated yet. So the numbers officially will only be out, I think, next year when my cohort has graduated. Yeah, but all I can say is the employment rate is quite high, and among the circle of friends that I know, the starting salary is very competitive. Yes.
Thank you for that insight. So we're assuring the people that it's actually quite competitive. Okay, BCG, how are the starting salaries for the double degree students? And I think this one, we saw it in the recent GES survey.
Yeah, so if you're not sure, the GES, I mean, it just got released a few days ago. So like for starting salary, I don't think there's no need to worry for double degree students. You're quite highly sought after for. So like anyway, I mean, a lot of places will want you. So like, I mean, if you see the trend comparing to the past few years, it has been increasing. If I am not mistaken, right, it's around, for the median pay now is around 6,000. but then it could rise or fall because like there's a bit of fluctuation, and also the fact that there are quite a little like double degree students around, therefore like the number might skew quite a bit. But what the main point is that you don't have to worry if you're like in the computer science school. I mean, like, you know, tech is a growing industry, so like there's really no need to worry about the so-called like salary and things like that. You'll be quite comfortable. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that insight. So I think we kind of covered salaries for DSAI and BCG. Now let's ask kind of like a question for the whole panel. How do you plan your career years after NTU? Do you know what you want to do? You have no idea? How are you planning that out? Yeah, open to the floor.
Alright, so maybe I'll start first. So for me, right, I would say that the only way to know what kind of career you really want is really to just try it out. So for me, right, I'm actually taking a part-time internship now in a big tech company. So I'm like just getting a feel of like how the working life is there, like the people there and the culture and things like that. But in the summer, I'll be moving to a quantitative trading firm. So like to experience life in a very different like way. So the quantitative trading firm is like a startup. So like it's definitely there will be quite a different culture. So the only advice I will give is that just go and try around to see which kind of life you will enjoy more. Then once you find out something that like you will enjoy, then you just plan your career accordingly. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other perspectives?
Okay, so I think like it's really important that like you don't stress out about your career too much. Like sometimes like some of us we don't know what we want to do yet, and honestly that's like me. Like I don't know what exactly I want to do yet, and really don't stress out. And like Jun Hong said, just try out different things. And you know, like some people actually do career switches like a few years after, or maybe like even right after their degree program, they realize it's not really cut out for them. But then the skills you gain from computing, you can really apply it to like many domains and fields. Like it's really not just limited to like tech and engineering. There are many other fields. Say, I don't know, maybe like in business, there's business analytics, or like even very like research in many other fields like marine engineering or nature, eco conservation. There's really a lot of fields like that require computing skills right now. So maybe that's one path you can explore. Or if you don't even like the computing field, it's perfectly alright. Yeah. But the point is like you don't have to stress too much about like your career plans, or like it's okay if you don't know what exactly you want to do, or that you may not enjoy what you do. If you are drawn to like computing right now, just give it a try first.
Yeah, thank you for that. Does anyone have any closing statements to say?
Perhaps I can add on to what Ting Ting said.
Yep.
So some students, or even my peers or myself, we are afraid that maybe by the time we graduate, we are still not super sure what we want to do or what we want to venture in. But I think that throughout our entire career, it doesn't just end upon graduation. We can continue figuring out what we want to do, and we can just try venturing into new fields even when we are already working. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a very good note to end on. So we are coming to the end of our time, unfortunately. But to those whose questions are yet to be answered, don't worry, as Slido will continue to be open until 31st March. Unfortunately, due to the rising COVID cases, physical campus tours have been cancelled. But fret not, as we will be having virtual tours. Let's watch this next video for a sneak peek at our campus. Okay, we'll send you the link for the video at another time, and it will be available on our website. So since, as we mentioned, we have virtual tours instead of physical tours, and for those who have already registered, you will be getting an email. Others can register on the link being sent out. Okay, so for more details on our courses, scholarships, and anything under the sun, please visit us at our SCSE website or the NTU admissions page. For instant updates, follow us on our social media on Facebook and Instagram. I think one more thing we'd like to mention is that We had our faculty panel earlier this day, but fret not if you've missed it, as it will also be available on our marketing channel. And the campus video is also available there. So if you want to take a sneak peek into the campus and how it looks like, you can also watch the video there. I think that's about all the closing statements we have. So I'd like to thank all of our viewers today for joining us, and of course the student ambassadors for coming down to support us today. Thanks for seeing us, and we hope to see you on campus. Bye!